Sky Islands. Well, I think there's something very special that happens when we are able to get into a landscape that is really tall, and that's something that I like to be on field and record also, but different kinds of natural materials of the landscape. But I feel it's very magical. It's one reason why sometimes we go up to these tall places and you have the temples are built very tall in some of the mountains. The music culture from there is also very different. We have gongs and bamboo that are played. The music is very different from like the lowlands and music that's come off from the rivers and the seas. But also in this high culture, like non-anthropogenic culture, it's very magical. I felt because of the animals and the mammals that we'll talk about it, that some people say that evolution has sped up here because it's hard to get there as humans, but we have all of these special animals that don't exist anywhere else in the world. So I think about that, being in the clouds, and
very
also
specific sounds that come from that environment.
Yes, the ecosystem, the sonic ecosystem of a rainforest. Yeah, it's very lush. So it is very inspirational. We have some here, Ifugao and Kalinga from the regions. You can see the nose flute, kulitong, which is the zither, which you see actually throughout the Philippines, but it's also here in this region. Donatong, which they take these bamboo, they're often sometimes shorter, and it's flat gongs, gangsa, so it's almost like drums, but it's metal, the gangsa, which is different than the gangsa in Indonesia. But these are actually the flat gongs, which they use a lot for procession. And yeah, it's very symbolic. So I definitely wanted to have these kinds of sounds and materials which are intentional to give that energy into the piece. So often, they'll say, okay, bamboo is used to play in these interlocking rhythms, traditional artists and my traditional artist friends to connect to the spirits. But I was just having this conversation today. I think even in contemporary music, we're always connecting. It's just that in traditional music, they'll literally tell you that, all music and all their instruments, whether it's in their dreams or in their waking life. But I'm also mapping climate changing, collecting its memory. Every time I'm in a landscape, whether it's the land and or the water landscape, it'll never be the same. The materiality of the sound is now coming into my composition, and so I'm negotiating that right now, how that changes my art form and how I can share that. So I'm casting in gong metals, tambayok Philippine conch shells that both Levi Lorenzo and I, and hopefully some of the other ensemble members will also play.
So these new sculptures will be part of the staging, is that right?
Yeah, and it's a concept for me that's titled Floating Gardens. So like Sky Islands and the whole kind of meta nature of bringing people in to sit or float into another space is a little moment to take us out of our regular space, everyday living, and experience something and think about it differently. And you have this whole ecosystem of incredible artists that are bringing these things to the stage. So there's a lot of collaboration in there, and I think it's also different kinds of composing. Sometimes the composition is on the page. Sometimes the composition is how we're collectively arranging the section. Every composer is different. I'm very open to how the performer is going to interpret it and what their agency is and what is important, because I really want everyone to sound true to themselves and as the best possible. So I have to listen to that. I'm not going to force that.